Hi, my name is Jennifer Hobson-Plattner, and I am here to show you how to write a good essay for your midterm exam this week. As you can see, you have your midterm review sheets. There are several terms from chapters 1 to 15. What I would suggest, and I will have a midterm review video as well, is to go over all the terms and make sure you're very familiar with them. There are a lot, but that's all you have to do this week. And then you come to the section where you have an essay. And the essay, I believe, is worth, 60 points. So it's quite a few points. And there is a really good way to teach anyone how to write a really good and thorough essay. There are 3 different essays. I chose the one to show you that says compare and contrast 2 American presidents we have studied about so far. List their strengths and weaknesses for each. What was their legacy? George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, John Quincy Adams, Andrew Jackson, Martin Van Buren, William Henry Harrison, John Tyler, James K. Polk, Zachary Taylor, Millard Fillmore, Franklin Pierce, James Buchanan, and Abraham Lincoln are the ones that we have studied thus far. So you can choose any of those 2. What I would suggest is that you pick the essay that you feel most comfortable about. There's one kind of about economics. There's also one about government. And then I would pre-write, I would have a plan, and then I would actually write it out before you take your essay, your essay part of the test for your midterm, because you can practice it and get it with as much information as you need. So today I have chosen to do George Washington and Andrew Jackson. And one of the reasons I chose them was because in our book, it really did show quite a bit of information about the 2 of them. It went into great detail. So we're going to pre-write first. And then after we pre-write, what we're going to do is we're going to look over our terms, the terms that are in your midterm review sheet, and see what terms we can add to our essay that are actually terms that we've learned, that we can kind of push into our essay and incorporate. And then it's a good idea also to go over our history analysis words, like core and periphery that we discussed. Matriarch, patriarch, polarity, any of these that we can also stick in. Now, you don't need to stick in several, just pick a few so that you're looking at this from a historical analysis perspective and using the words that you've already learned. So that's what we're going to do right now. So first, what I would suggest, since it says compare and contrast, make sure you answer all parts of the question. It does say in the essay is the 3rd part of your exam. You will be giving a choice of 3 essays. You choose one to you wish to write, and you pre-write. Brainstorm is encouraged. Bonus points are often given for your pre-writing if you send me that, since this is an online course. You can send it to me over the email, and I'll try to write a note in the upcoming announcements. Pre-writing and brainstorming always make for a better writing piece. It needs to be at least 3 to 5 paragraphs long. I only ask for 1 essay, but as I ask for only 1 essay, I want this to be a very thorough and well-written essay. So that's what I expect, rather than to give you 2 essays that are halfway written with half the effort. What you need is you need an introduction. You need 1 reason or a section of comparison. In this case, another reason, kind of another section, and then a 3rd section that you're talking about. And then you do need a conclusion. In your introduction, and we'll talk about that more later, you will restate the question. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is to pre-write. I'm just trying to keep my timer on so that I cover everything that I need to. All right, so for George Washington, we found there's very much a contrast here. So that's why it makes it kind of easier for you to to do this. So let's go ahead and do Washington. Sorry about that. He was our first president. Okay. All right. It was a unanimous election. Unanimous. Okay. Let's see, he wanted everyone to call him Mr. President. He did not want the formality of royalty. That was his choice. And that is from your reading. He also wore plain suits around people. He did not want to wear his general's outfit. He chose people who opposed him to serve for his cabinet. And we talked a lot about that. That was one of our discussion forums, and you guys did a fantastic job on that. So he chose people that opposed him. Thomas Jefferson and Randolph both opposed him and his ideologies, and he had them on his cabinet, as well as Hamilton and Knox, who was the Secretary of War, who were more kind of his same thoughts. He was not a member of a party. He truly believed that a two-party system could ruin American republicanism. And that really worried him. He would not affiliate himself with a party. Although his ideologies often lined up with the Federalist Party, he did not choose to give himself that identity, that name. He was very much against that. He believed in a central bank. He was for a central bank. All right. He was for a stronger government. All right. He got along very well with the Indians. They fought alongside him on many battles, and there was a great deal of peace. All the way from Washington, our first president, to the sixth president, John Quincy Adams, there was a lot of peacefulness as I was researching this between the Indians and the United States. Okay. He was also born in Virginia. Okay, and we talked a lot about the different regions and how different regions felt and believed. I believe he was a slave owner. You need to check me on that. I believe he was, but his policies were the foundations of abolition. He really believed that they should be, that the African Americans should be free, even so early on in our country. An abolitionist ideology is what they said when I was doing my research, was what the sources were saying. Okay, so now we need to get on to Jackson. Jackson was very different. Oh, let's do some of the things that they are in the middle. They both were war heroes. That is important. They were war heroes. Andrew Jackson was a war hero in 1812. He was a courier in the Revolutionary War, which is really quite interesting. And then, of course, George Washington was in the Revolutionary War as well, and was, the commander-in-chief. They are both on money. They were both presidents. And you know what? You may actually, this is just examples. You may actually do a much better job of or you might have different ideas. And that's wonderful. If they're true, put them down here in the middle, where something that they both have in common. Okay. So Jackson, he was the seventh president. Okay, he was the seventh president. He was very partisan. In fact, that's kind of when everything exploded. The two-party system, he was a part of the second two-party system. He was kind of after Jefferson's ideologies, and they actually called them Jacksonians. It was so partisan, Jacksonians. And some other Jacksonians we did read about in our book, Polk, Van Buren. And, Polk really kind of looked forward to different wars in order to increase the land of the United States. Let's see what else. He was often behind his back called King Andrew the First, because he seemed to be a little bit tyrannical in nature. He also he did not welcome opposing ideas as Washington did. He often punished them and became very angry. And one of our vocabulary words is patronage, and that's where you don't hire someone under the government that does the best job. You hire someone under the government that you're rewarding for their loyalty or for doing something for you. So they might be the worst at their job, but you hire them. So he is known for patronage, which is not a good thing. He is really known for the Indian and harshness to Indians. He was in a war against the Seminoles early on. He's known for the Indian Removal Act. Right. He very much was connected to land lust, ideas of land lust. He was connected to ideas of manifest destiny, where he, believing it's God-given right to take the land from the Indians and push out the Mexican armies or whatever it is, that it was just the destiny that God said that it was okay to do such things. So he kind of embodied that. Also, we know the corrupt bargain was when he and John Quincy Adams were both running, and there were some, different things that the winner was John Quincy Adams. Jackson was very upset. And 4 years later, he did win, and he did spend a lot of time kind of punishing those people who got in his way before. So that was a corrupt bargain, and that was actually in our vocabulary words. What else? Nullification crisis, when South Carolina was going to actually secede because of tariffs. He worked very hard because that was a crisis, giving the states more power, almost enough power to pull away. He was very much against the bank, the second bank that needed to be kind of restructured. He was against it, and that system completely fell apart there for a while. There was lots of scandals in his cabinet. In fact, his cabinet completely disintegrated because of a petticoat scandal, where there were some different accusations of different cabinet members' wives and their promiscuity. Although the Supreme Court said that Georgia could not make the Cherokees leave or the other Indian tribes leave, Jackson kind of went around the back door, creating some sort of a treaty where it is said that 45,000 Indians were removed from the United States to across the Mississippi border. And then we of course, we know that he is associated with the Trail of Tears. All right, and he definitely was responsible for expanding the U.S., the borders. Okay, he was born in the Carolinas. All right, so we have a lot of things going on here. Let's see what else. I'm just scanning. So we have a nice setup for a very good essay. All right. I might be overdoing my time, so I think I will stop here and add a little video on the parts of the essay. But pre-writing is the key to your essay and to be successful. Thank you.